Hey guys, what's going on? So today we're going to be talking about the top 5 timed pets. As all top whatever lists, this is just my opinion and what I think. I'm going to go over a brief summary about each of these pets to give you a general idea of what they do and why they are where they are as far as ranking goes. So without further ado, let's get on to the list. My number 5 timed pet has to be Wise Dory. I really like Wise Dory because of its rare skill, where it increases the crit rate. I believe at max level this goes up to 80%, yeah? So crit rate by 80%, which is a pretty big number. So as you get higher level, there will be a lot of crit resist builds you will run into, so its rare skill will allow you once again to land critical hits on your opponents. And also depending on its Evo level, your crit damage will also be increased while it's active. So let's say you have a Evo 10 Wise Dory, for example, which is possible if you were just going for like one timed pet. It is possible to get a high Evo without spending a lot of money, because you can save up diamonds, and when it finally comes in the timed pets events, you could go crazy on it and get it a pretty decent Evo level. So let's say it's Evo 10, for example, that would be 50% crit damage, which is a pretty big number when you can just increase it just like that, just by using the rare skill. And this one is also interesting, 20% chance to stun the enemy for 0.2 seconds. This is during the rare skill period, and actually I think at max level it'll be a whole second. I mean, you can hit pretty fast with all characters, so that is actually pretty good, I would say. A whole second, 20% chance during the rare skill, so gotta say that's pretty nice. And the attribute Fortify is also quite good. Crit reduction, and hit, all percent based stuff, with crit being the highest and crit reduction coming after that. So 2 pretty good stats in my opinion. And so yeah, that's Wise Dory. Very solid pet all around, I would say. Up for number 4 we have Nami. So Nami is kind of famous for her special thing here, the Siren Song. This is basically a second rare skill you can control. It puts enemies to sleep. One thing to note is that the radius of the rare skill is around Nami and not yourself. So you have to wait until Nami is close to your enemy before you trigger it. And you trigger it by hitting Nami's pet icon, you know, where you have your pets at the left. So that's really interesting. Her actual rare skill doesn't seem very useful. It does deal damage, which is one of the things that is unique. Most rare skills do not deal direct damage, and it increases their mana cost. So the mana cost isn't very useful, but it does deal 400% damage, and it has a very low cooldown, only 30 seconds. And its rare skill Fortify is extremely confusing. So when being hit by rare skills, so I can imagine that's the rare skill, target's cooldown reduction effect of equipment doesn't work for 2 seconds. Hit rate is very high, okay? The hit rate is very high. I guess that means it will hit them often, or the chance of it actually happening is very high. Of course, I would assume it's 100% as long as they're in the radius of the rare skill. Cooldown reduction effect, I can imagine this is like if you have the Hades chest, for example, it reduces the cooldown of your second skill by 3 seconds, I believe, and I guess that won't work for 2 seconds. And I can imagine when that's maxed, it will be 10 seconds then. So actually, that isn't so bad, or that's not that uninteresting, because, for example, if someone's a Boric and they're using a lot of stuff to reduce the cooldown of his smash, and you use this skill, they will only be able to smash at its, every 7 seconds or something, because that's what the cooldown is at. So, actually, that's not so bad when I think about it a bit. The attribute Fortify isn't that great, but it's not so bad either. Dodge as its first stat, so if you're going for dodge, it's actually rather nice. Net damage, never really been a huge fan of, and hit rate as its last stat, so not too bad overall. But yeah, Nami. The sleeping skill is a huge thing, probably the most powerful debuff, I would say, and people like to take Nami and Deathmark enabled Hades, so where they go to sleep, and Deathmark it lands, and yeah, then it's kind of GG, you know, especially if you have a Bork ready to switch out. So anyway, up for number 3 has to be Dingus. I don't see Dingus used very much. Well, actually, I am starting to see him. The main attraction to Dingus is this skill here, Purify, his rare skill. This is also a damage dealing thing. I think it goes up to 500% at max level, and it clears the buffs. Also attaches a slow debuff, and the slow debuff lasts a time depending on the pet's evo level. Also, the cooldown depends on that. So Dingus, higher evo you can get him, the better. And the best thing about Dingus, of course, is his rare skill, like I already said. I see this most often with Boric, Dingus and Boric in one team. What they do is wait until the opponent switches out to Boric, they switch out to Dingus and Boric, remove their Boric, and then their Boric. So I've seen this used to great effect on me. I don't really use Dingus, but I am starting to think about using him because of this. Let's check out his rare skill, Fortify. After using Purify, player's crit reduction increases by 40%. For 2+ pet evo. So a lot of stuff depends on Dingus's evo level, so the higher you can get that, the better. Of course, 40% crit reduction, even for 2 seconds, at level 1 is pretty insane. I can imagine that goes up to, what, should be around 200% actually at level 5, if it goes up how it usually does with these rare skill Fortifies. So 200% crit reduction, that's actually a lot. The attribute Fortify is also quite nice. Hit, crit damage, and crit reduction. Actually not nice, that's amazing. Hit rate is very important in my opinion because there are still a lot of dodge users running around. Crit damage is also great. I love crit damage. And crit reduction, also good. So yeah, great attribute Fortify in my opinion. Alright, so for number 2 we have to go with Mephisto. I really do love Mephisto, and he is my timed pet of choice. He is the one I'm spending all my diamonds on. So let's check him out a bit. The actual main thing about Mephisto is his attack buff here. One of the only pets that give a attack buff on one of his skills, and it's 100%, so a pretty big attack buff actually. Of course, it only works in modes where the pets are present, and as long as he can survive the first 5 seconds or so to actually do it, then you get a nice attack boost. When he is enhanced, you can increase the duration of the attack boost and add a speed boost on it as well. So it will increase your speed and power, and it lasts longer when you can enhance him. His rare skill, I love also. I hate being silenced, stunned, frozen, all that crap, and this not only removes it, but it makes you immune to it for a certain duration of time. Also depending on his evo level, but it's a decent amount of time, enough to get out of a sticky situation. Rare skill Fortify, I am actually not focusing on this very much because I don't know exactly. I have tried it with a friend and they did say I was completely invisible for those 0.6 seconds. I just don't know how useful that is. Maybe matching him with Borg would be nice, as long as the Borg would also stay invisible, but I'm not too sure. The attribute Fortify is okay. Crit reduction I do like, and that is its highest stat, but then comes health and damage reduction, which aren't that great for me when they are on attribute Fortify. I typically prefer percent-based stats. So, but overall I really love Mephisto, and also this second skill here. When he's enhanced, it increases your dodge, and level that up to increase that even further. So the number 1 timed pet has to be the Undead Captain, Captain Sam. The main thing to note here is Captain Sam is really only good as a timed pet, or he's only number 1 rank worthy if you can get him above Evo 6, or at least Evo 6, because that's when he can be enhanced. And enhanced transform pets are OP because you can increase the damage of these skills with pills. And while you're transformed, that also works. So when you are transformed into Captain Sam, you will be dealing this amount of damage and more when you're upgrading it. So all transform pets are pretty overpowered when you can enhance them. Like I said, only number 1 rank worthy if you can get him above Evo 6. So let's check it out. His rare skill, of course, transforms you into the Captain Sam himself. You cannot get parry broken, and you can parry break pretty fast yourself. The rare skill Fortify is kind of interesting. I can imagine that goes up to around 60% or so at max level, and 30% 33% chance every time you are attacked to reduce the target's damage reduction. And in really high levels, when people have a lot of ref 10 gear, that can mean a pretty big damage boost yourself, because people can have up to like 70k damage reduction just on ref 10 gear. That can mean a lot. The attribute Fortify is also rather nice. All percent-based stats, crit reduction, dodge, and hit rate, so not much else to say about that, some pretty good stats there. And so yeah, totally an awesome pet when it can be enhanced and you can level up those skills. So maybe I would say Evo 7, Evo 8 Captain Sam is really good, because if it's only Evo 6, you can only raise these skills to like, I don't know, 3 or 4 or something, and you won't notice that huge of a difference. But if you can get it to Evo 7, 8, 9, then it's awesome. But yeah, so that is my top 5 timed pets. Tell me what you think about it in the comments below. Tell me if you agree, if you disagree, what else should be there instead of this or that pet. So that's going to be all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please drop a like down below and leave a comment for any suggestions on future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.